one of the best preserved and best known cities from the Roman world. A treasure, both destroyed and preserved by a volcano's fury. Now recreated, in part, for you to explore. Welcome to Pompeii, and welcome to the House of Sallust. In AD 79, Mount Vesuvius wiped Pompeii off the Roman map, first buried by 15 feet of ash and pumice, then blasted by pyroclastic flows. The entombed city simply disappeared. It lay covered for 1,700 years, until 18th century royalty started digging into the ruins in search of priceless art and treasures. The House of Sallust, or Sallustius, in the city's far northwest, came to light in about 1805. This well-preserved, wealthy patrician's home has much to teach about Roman life. So let's take a look. You entered off the street through a small foyer, which opened into an immense, airy room called the atrium. A hole in the center of the ceiling, the compluvium, allowed in light, and also allowed rainwater to fall and be collected in the small pool in the floor, the impluvium. This water would then drain into a cistern and could be tapped at the wellhead for the household's needs. A Roman atrium was the focus of the house, but also a semi-public space. Beyond family use, it was a waiting area for the head of household's many clients, meant to show off the family's wealth and status. Each day, the patron would hold the equivalent of office hours, meeting with his clients in the luxurious room at the back of the atrium, the Tablinum. With its floor slightly above the atrium's level, the Tablinum raised the patron, literally and symbolically, above those who came to seek his favor. The family did have its private and personal spaces. To the sides of the Tablinum were two large open-fronted rooms, or alae, which were probably bedchambers and likely draped off. Around the remainder of the atrium, doors opened onto smaller chambers called cubicula, family or guest bedrooms, and a small shrine, probably to the lares or household gods, was set up in a niche next to the Tablinum. Mirroring it on the other side of the Tablinum was a door leading out to the private garden. Pompeians were keenly aware that they lived in a cramped, noisy, dirty environment. Almost all patrician houses, large or small, tried to carve out garden spaces, often extravagantly painted with rural scenes. It was an attempt to recreate the idyllic villa lifestyle in the heart of the city. At the House of Sallust, the long, narrow garden was shaped into a woodland walk, which ended in an outdoor summer dining room, or triclinium, around a tiny pool. Roman tradition was to eat reclining on couches, everyone leaning in toward the central table, where they would pick food and spend hours dining and talking. A setting like this on a warm summer evening would have been ideal. The House of Sallust had more than one triclinium, though. A large room, created behind what had been a cubiculum, has been interpreted as a winter triclinium. Another heavily decorated room that opened out onto the garden may have been one as well, or may have been a private study or office. Art historians have identified four main phases or styles of wall art at Pompeii, and the House of Sallust has remnants of at least three. The atrium and Tablinum are in the first style, raised plaster that was meant to look like exotic marble slabs brought from all over the Mediterranean world. This style was in fashion in the 2nd and early 1st centuries BC, and it's a testament to the conservative Roman mindset that they remained on these walls all the way up to the city's destruction 200 years later. However, not everything stayed the same at the House of Sallust. Maybe 50 years before the eruption, the owners carved a new apartment complex into what had been a southern range of gardens. This new apartment was no longer centered on an atrium, but on an open-air columned courtyard, or peristyle, set off by a massive fresco portraying the fate of Actaeon. The rest of the new complex's walls were painted in the third style. Multiple small vignettes of mythical or landscape scenes were painted in panels set off by stylized architectural lines. Every surface was painted, and a bit remains today to show what it once looked like. Households like the House of Sallust used a virtual army of servants and slaves to take care of all daily business, and the southeast corner of the complex seems likely to have been the servants' quarters. Although the upper rooms are long gone, the remains of at least 3 sets of staircases were noted around the property in the early 1800s. And just off the newer apartments lay a combined kitchen and latrine. This may wrinkle noses today, but it was very much the style at the time. Waste liquids from cooking could quickly be flushed into the toilet system, washing away the muck. The House of Sallust was a rich family's urban home. With its proportions and its artwork and its attention to detail, it projected what its family thought of as the best of aristocratic southern Italian living. And because so much still survives today, we can come to understand some of that ourselves. I hope you enjoyed this short tour. Join me next time when I go outside to show how intertwined the worlds of rich and poor, aristocrat and slave, were in ancient Pompeii.